Wow, that was a long one, but we made it through. But we have also barely touched the surface. Here on Cosmere Chronicles, the podcast where we follow two first-time readers, Justin and Sheta, and we chronicle their journey through Brand Sampson's Cosmic series. On today's episode, we're not going to be reading anything, because we will be going over our wrap-up of the Stormlight Archive, The Way of Kings. So now, let's throw it over to the host of Cosmic Chronicles. This is Joe. Thank you, Joe. Yes, everyone, as you heard, this is Cosmic Chronicles, and we are here, and it's the end of the book time, so it's time to wrap up everything, give all our thoughts and stuff for The Way of Kings. The longest book we've read so far, 21 weeks, and I almost forgot. As usual, my name's Joe, and I'm joined by Sheta and Justin.
Hello there.
Oh.
Yep, we're all here. We're ready to get into this and stuff. And like I said, we finished book one of the Stormlight Archive, The Way of Kings. And yeah, pretty much like almost double the length of all the other books we've done so far. So this one will be interesting when we give all our thoughts. Let's just get right into it, because this will probably be a longer episode. And just, for people, if you don't remember our past wrap-up episodes, we're going to start off, we'll give our thoughts, ask some questions, do that. I have a couple fun little things to go through in the middle, and then we'll go into all our fan castings for a lot of the characters for this book. And
Fun
if you
things to go through sounds ominous to me, Joe. You've got me freaked out here.
Very exciting.
don't worry, Justin, you should be afraid. All right, and we'll do our fan castings, and if as we've been doing the last couple, if you want to follow along with the fan castings, we'll have images going up on the YouTube page. There should be another video. It will be same exact title. It will just say with pictures. Then you can see the pictures that we are throwing up in our Discord on there as they go up, so you can follow along with that.
Cool.
All right, but first, let's give our overall thoughts. Also, for these questions we'll have at the beginning, like our giving our thoughts and stuff, our friend Nick, been on, once each book. I asked, since he's not able to be on for the wrap-ups, I just asked him to email me some thoughts, so I'll also throw some of his thoughts in there as well when we get there.
Will you do a Nick impersonation?
I'll try my best. I'm terrible at impersonations.
Well, you can send it to me or Justin, and then we can pretend to be Nick.
All right, but let's just go into our start off overall thoughts for this book. What we thought about it and everything. We'll go, Justin first, then Sheta, then me, then Nick. So Justin, go ahead.
Well, I liked the book. I thought it was interesting. First half of it, I don't know where it's going, but it really grabbed me on the second half. I really liked the bridge crew thing, that it was such a huge, long part of the book. I felt that was the most interesting aspect of it. I think it's really interesting that characters like Dalinar, he starts out pretty boring, but by the end of the book, he's super interesting and cool. I'm very curious to see where he's going. I like all the studying aspects with Yasna and Shallan. I found those all very interesting. The concept of the Parchment being like this weird thing that is right there, but we don't know what it is. I'm excited to see where that's going. I think this book did a good job of setting up a lot of stuff while being interesting the whole time. So, no real complaints. And also, I think I was more grabbed by Mistborn, like if I'm comparing it to other ones we've read. But I think by the end of this whole thing is going to be more interesting than any of the stuff we've read so far. So I'm really curious to see how that goes.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think this is definitely going to be a slow burn kind of thing, and I'm excited for that. This is the longest book, and so we got a lot of world building and character stuff, and I think laying down groundwork for stuff to come. And I've never really read something that is that in depth and excited to world build. And so I don't know how many books are in Stormlight, but I think there's a lot of stuff that still need to be answered and revealed. So that's exciting. there's a lot of I think I'm excited to see the scope of where this goes. I think that's kind of what Justin was saying too. So I liked it. I again haven't read anything with this big of a world, so I'm excited to see what's to come.
All right. And then for me, I'm just thinking back, first time I read this was the first Cosmere story that I read. And whenever I go into stories, I try to go in as blind as possible. I'm coming off of reading the first Law series, which was pretty, dark and nihilistic. So I'm going into this. So the entire time in the story, I'm thinking everyone's going to die or it's just going to be miserable for everybody by the end. But Kaladin's whole struggle throughout the entire book was fun to see. It's such a long book, so usually when you have a character like that that's in slavery, it's only like a small portion of it. The fact that it's the entire book really makes you feel his struggle. So by the end, when he gets freed, it's pretty cathartic. I love all the Yasna Shallan stuff. It's very interesting to see it. I was gripped right away once Shallan was thinking that she wanted to steal the Soulcaster. Because you first see her and you think, all right, she's just trying to be a person getting in, trying to learn stuff. Then it's like, oh, she's trying to steal. There's some dark, secrets to her. And I also found it so interesting where you have, through this book, you had pretty much 4 main storylines. You had Dalinar and Adolin. You had, Kaladin. You had Shallan, Yasna. And then you also had Szeth. But Szeth's only shown up in the interludes. But for the other 3 main ones, 2 of them are in the Shattered Plains the entire time. They're kind of meeting. And then you have Shallan, where she's just completely separated from everything else going on, but they're still learning some stuff that's connected to it. And they don't even meet up by the end of the book. To me, that was just so interesting to see an entire storyline that by the end of the book still is not connected to them physically. Yeah, it's a book that I thought it was great, and when I finished it, I went right into the next series. It was fun. And then Nick's thoughts on the book. Oh, God. I'm sorry, Nick.
Don't do the impression. Do not do the impression.
Nick, what did you think of the book?
Overall, lots of necessary character and world building, but as always, big payoffs. Like the end of Final Empire, some questions were answered, but many more questions arose. Looking forward to the next book. And then he put down some random thoughts he had. Yasna mentions 8 types of blood? Huh? Well. Yasna's Soulcast is the jam. I knew it!
Yes.
I love Sigil at the end. How heavy of a rock can you stick to a wall? How much faster are you? How close can an arrow be for you to still be able to redirect it? Can you do it with other objects? This is exactly what I would be doing.
That's so funny. I thought of him exactly at the same time. That's hilarious.
I was like, that's Nick. Trying to do all the experiments and the measurements. That's so funny.
Reread the death quotes. It never actually says how the subjects died, which I thought was odd at the time. Knowing how they all died now makes it much darker, especially when regarding the children and pregnant women.
Oh, no. That's true.
And then, I wanted to mention the death quote from Chapter 4. Something like, "Healer, why do you take my blood?" Wonder if these quotes are from other people's deaths, and this one in particular was from a death due to the bleeding.
Yeah, I did wonder that too.
Yep. And in Ars Arcanum, I like the logic behind span reads. The movement/weight match the other pen, which they purpose to allow for writing across distances. Mm-hmm. Yep. So those are Nick's thoughts. So next we'll go into any criticisms or changes that you would put into the book. Justin first.
Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
Oh, I don't know. I probably would have had 1 or 2 chapters more, though I don't know how you would of fleshing out the area that Shallan and Yasna are in, because I got a sense for the characters, but like as horrifying as it was to see Teravengian, doing that stuff, I thought he was fleshed out. I would have really liked seeing the actual place they're in fleshed out so I could be more horrified to imagine that there's that horrible thing happening in those secret rooms underneath the whole castle area. Because the place they were wasn't really a character to me besides the library. And anything else? No, I think that's my only real thing I'd critique. I think everything else was pretty clean and straightforward.
I never thought of that, but I think I agree with you, Justin. Like the reveal of that, I know that he probably did it to try to keep it more secret and shocking when the reveal came, because it seemed like Taravangian in that place, that city and stuff wasn't important. I thought we were gonna blow through that city like any time, so I did not think about it. But yeah, I think personally I like world building and getting comfortable in places too, so I kind of wanted to feel like I was at the places more, like in the Shattered Plains. Like even though our characters were there, um we didn't really live there, if you know what I mean. Like we were, anytime we went there, it was like um riding out to war or like talking and stuff like that. So that's just personally for me, I enjoy those kind of things, and like I think it's cozy. And so that's it. But there was so much stuff to cover. I'm sure like that stuff was not important. It's just flavoring, and other people might not even appreciate that or like that. So, but I thought the fact that the land and the world that they're in is changed, I think maybe it's purposeful that it's not talked about as much. So I don't know. We'll see later, I guess.
All right. For me, I get my change. It's going to be a little bit more nitpicky. I would have, just because we have interludes in between, after parts 1, 2, and 3, but there was no interludes in between parts 4 and 5, which I've always felt was kind of weird for this book. So personally, I would have just included just a couple more interludes in between, parts 4 and 5. Throw a little bit of extra world building at the very end, maybe some more stuff to hint at the next book, that sort of stuff. It's a lot of the other stuff, it's kind of hard for me to change because I like how long Kaladin's struggle is through the stuff. I like all the Shallan stuff, and especially since like Shallan and Dalinar, you don't get to see them too much because each of them are, Dalinar's not featured in parts 1 and 3, and Shallan's not featured in parts 2 and 4. Yeah, that's the only thing I really would do. And then from Nick's criticisms, I love the Bridge Crew story, but some of the chapters would start to blur together. Could probably chop that down 20%. There were a lot of named Bridge 4 members, to the point where I would forget entirely that some of them existed, making their deaths less impactful. The distinct voices in the audiobook did help distinguish them though, and I bet the live-action adaptation would help even more.
I think a lot of those deaths would be really, really impactful in the live action version. It's so kind of sad to me in this one. They're like, yeah, Earless Jack died. And I'm like, well, who the fuck is Earless Jack? I feel like I should have remembered that, but I'd forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only like Bridge 4 members who died that we actually really got to know were like Dunny and Maps. I think most of the rest of them were ones who were kind of just mentioned shortly or had like 1 or 2 sentences of dialogue or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then next we'll go with everyone's your top favorite characters. 3 to 5, somewhere around there, just your top characters.
Okay. Top favorite characters for me, I'm gonna go with Kaladin as my number 1 favorite. Just because his arc and his growth as a person, I thought was really interesting and good, and I always like I guess his struggles were very interesting and relatable. And then I also like Adolin a lot. I don't know why, but every time he shows up, I'm just like, oh, it's Adolin. I don't know. I just like him too. And I thought his relationship with his dad was very interesting, and kind of being the son and the kind of spectator, like looking at all this stuff happening, just kind of watching was fun. And then Dalinar, of course, I think probably he probably ties with Kaladin about most interesting story arc and character growth. And then Thaddeus is gonna be there because I also enjoyed every time he appeared. I thought his dialogue was always fun, and his relationship with Dalinar was fun to watch too, or to see. And then I also really enjoy Lopin. I don't know, but when he entered the book, I thought he brought a lot of energy and niceness and kind of a little levity into it. And he just had this energy that was really fun. And he's just so helpful. Like, I was afraid he was gonna be a bad guy or turn out to betray them or something. And I'm really glad that he didn't. He was just really nice. And then my honorable mention is Non-Balat because he's such a weirdo. So I think that's it. Right? Shalon's brother, right?
Non-Balan.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we just hear her talk about her brothers and her family. And so when we see him, I'm like, what is wrong with this person? It's just, he's so weird. I think even in the whole book, even with all the weird stuff and the weird characters, he is the weirdest character. So like, I can't wait. I really hope he's in future books. Like,
You can't wait for more, so he can jump to your official number one.
yeah.
The man that's torturing animals because of his abuse that he's taken.
Yeah, that's weird. And there is something satisfying about taking crab legs apart.
Oh
but
my god!
like,
Stop!
that's all
Stop!
they're already dead and cooked.
I've
and I'm
never
eating them.
related to a character
Like-
like I did to him. Finally, I feel so seen. Representation does matter.
I don't know. I think torturing the crabs is awful, but
But it's sure that's why he does it, because it's awful for them, just like his life. That's the whole thing.
yeah.
What's creepiest about him is he's not a little psychopath who doesn't care. He knows he's ruining their life and torturing them.
Yeah. Very interesting.
All right. My top 5, I've got Yasna, which I really like that she's a researcher, an atheist in a specifically magical world I really enjoy. She's very stern and cold, but she's got a person underneath. She's just the exact kind of character I think is cool. I can't wait to see more of her. Dalinar is second because he's a badass older guy trying to follow a path of peace and failing miserably at it. And I really like him taking this new path at the end where he's going to be more the person he is. And I really like that he's the only person kind of like running this like a military instead of like a children's game. Then Syl, I like a lot. I think it's really interesting to have this little creature person fairy thing flying around Kaladin the whole time. And that little part where she was fighting off Death's Predator, one of my favorites. Then Wit, because I think he's a real asshole, and I think he's really I like the way he insults characters, and I think it's interesting to see which characters he's meaner to and which ones he's nicer to. And I'm very curious to see how he ties into the bigger book and the entire Cosmere thing. But that's specifically Wit, not specifically Hoid. I feel like I don't know Hoid very well yet. And then number 5 is, of course, Sadius, just because he is super interesting.
Hey!
I really like that he's a straight bad guy. He does some of the most evil stuff, but he's not a bad guy, not only not in his mind, but in this world. He's just a normal person in this world. And I also think his love of fashion and extravagance while being a warrior who's relatively badass, I think is really interesting. And that he's not that clever, I think is very fun. So that would be my top 5.
All right. For me, I guess number 1 would be Kaladin. Yeah, the traditional hero character in a story, but I like him where he just gets beaten down and stuff. He's almost ready to break, but thanks to Syl, he's able to step up and he does whatever he can to just try to bring life back to the Bridgemen, just tries to help them through everything. And you see through his flashbacks that he just pretty much he kind of has a complex where he just always needs to try to save people, even when they're beyond saving, like the little girl that died and stuff. It's like he needs to always save, always protect and stuff. And yeah, that brings him to some bad stuff because people keep failing and he keeps playing himself, but he keeps getting up, keeps doing it. And then at the end of the book, is able to say the words, goes, fights off like a Parshendi army, fights through that to get to Dalinar and all that. And he just finally is just kind of happy at the end because he was actually able to save Bridge 4. Yep, and then number 2 would be Dalinar. Just once again, the hero character of the story, but you get so much contemplation. You hear about a dark past that he's had where he's just like pretty much like a warlord or like a tyrant and stuff, but we're at the point where he's already trying to move past that, trying to run the army like it should be run, and try to just be the honorable, good person when nobody else is. And then just the fact at the end where he gives up a shard blade, one of the things considered like one of the greatest things in the entire planet, just to save a bunch of slaves. Number 3 would probably be Syl. I just like Syl. She's there. She's always picking up Kaladin. And you also kind of have some mystery with her throughout the book. Where like, yeah, she's giving powers. You don't quite know how. And then at the end, she remembers that she's an honor spren. And yeah. Number 4 would be Shallan. I just enjoyed her whole storyline. The whole part where once you figure out that she's a slave trying to steal stuff and everything. And same thing throughout the book. You start seeing her. She's getting terrorized by all these simple-headed creatures. She's being, she steals the Soulcaster. She calls into Shadesmar, all this stuff. And then she finally confronts Yasna at the end. It was great. And my 5th character would probably be Navani. I just liked her. She shows up, and she's just like a woman where you see everybody else just being made fun of by Wit, but she just makes a good entrance where she's able to just stand up to him making fun of all that fun of everyone else, and she doesn't take it like anybody else does. She's intelligent in her own right. She's pretty smart. Dalinar doesn't know whether to trust her or not, but throughout the thing, she never does anything to make him not trust her. She's kind of a powerful woman. And also she wants Dalinar and she goes for it. She doesn't, yeah. And then her final scene in like Sadeas' camp of just painting the justice symbol was pretty cool. And then we'll go with Nick's top 5. He had his top 5 characters, which he said was in no particular order. So he has Kaladin, Dalinar, Teft, Yasna, and Syl.
Yeah, Yasna.
And then, as everyone knows by listening to this, every week we always give our favorite characters of the week. So before we started the book, I did a poll like I did for last book. And I just asked like who people think will be the character that gets the most favorite character votes by the end of the book. I had to pick 4 options. The ones I picked were Kaladin, Dalinar, Shallan, and Syl. So from the polls, there were 3 of them. One of them, they came in 75% thought we'd pick Kaladin, 25% thought Dalinar. Another poll was 66% thought Kaladin, 33% thought Dalinar. And then the last poll was 46% thought Syl, 31% thought Kaladin, 15% thought Dalinar, and 8% thought Shallan. So now I'll ask you two, which character do you think was the one that won for the most favorite characters?
Dalinar.
Well, the fact that he's on all our lists, I think, says that as our top favorite.
Yep. Dalinar got it. He got 18 votes.
Nice.
Now, number 2. Who do you think got number 2?
Kaladin.
Yeah, I think so. Kaladin.
Yep. It was Kaladin with 16.
Pretty close.
No. Yep. Now, number 3, who do you think got it?
At that point, I can't guess anymore. Sadeas.
Shallan, maybe? I think
Number
Shallan.
3 was Yasna with 7 votes.
Dang.
Yeah.
Next was Shallan with 6 votes.
Okay.
And then Syl with 5 votes. The next was Sadeas with 3 votes. And then you had 3 characters that each had 2 votes. Adolin, Navani, and Rock. And I'm just going to ask you, we have 5 more characters. Each got 1 vote. Can you try to guess who those 5 characters were?
Caravangian.
Because that was you.
Because that was me. That's the only one I'm sure of.
Did I pick Non-Balat once? I feel like I picked him when he showed up. No, I think I picked Zeph. Yeah, Zeph. Dang, I forgot. He might have been one of my honorable mentions too. I quite like Zeph.
Well, what you said, only Justin got one with Taravangian.
Aw.
The other 4 that got a single vote were Hoid, Capsule, Kalak and Lopin.
Who is Kalak?
He was the herald that was the POV in the prelude.
I see.
All right.
And I probably picked Lopin. I forgot.
All right. So next we'll go with just what are a couple of your favorite moments in the book?
Still fighting the Death Spren, Dalinar giving up the sword, and Shallan seeing the angle-headed creatures for the first time.
Mine are gonna be stupid. Those are all really good. From yours, I will also say the shard blade giving was probably the best part of all. But I also enjoyed Capsule freaking out about the jam and eating his rancid jam. I don't know why.
That part's so hilarious and scary. That's a great
I
part.
know. Because I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Capsule? Like at that point we didn't know what his deal was, so he just started acting so weird and out of character. So I thought that was very funny and memorable to me.
Yeah, Capsule's plan was honestly a decent plan. He just didn't realize that his target had superpowers.
Yeah. I also enjoy the sexy tension between Navani and Dalinar. I thought that was really fun. And I really enjoy when Rock and Kaladin make the stew, and all the bridge crew slowly start melting and being nice and enjoying themselves. I thought that was very cozy, and I really liked that. Also, just that whole part with Kaladin going over and saving Dalinar like a superhero.
Yeah, I guess my favorite moments would be, I said it, a couple weeks ago on the thing where it would be, Kaladin, him arguing with himself and everything, and then realizing we have to go back to save Dalinar. And along with that, Syl being full size and revealing she's an honor sprint, all that was pretty cool. Kaladin saying the words, him leaping over the chasm, saying the words while in the air, sucking up the, stormlight from the gems and the beards, all that was pretty cool. Dalinar giving up the shard blade. All of us have picked it, but that's such a great moment, especially like I said, everything that the shard blades have come to represent. And probably when Shallan was running through the hallways being, chased by those symbol-headed things, just that, it was like a horror movie, being chased by it, and then, turning the goblet into blood, falling into Shadesmar, all that was pretty cool. And the last one probably be Kaladin in the high storm, waving around, Syl, just the moment where she's standing in front of him, trying to put her arms up to block the wind, like, all that was pretty cool. And then, Nick's top 5 moments. Kaladin performing the staff kata in the rain. The Parshendi / Voidbringer reveal. I'm a sucker for the big reveals. Navani discovering that Dalinar's visions are real. Shallan going to Shadesmar and soul casting blood. And Dalinar trading the shard blade for the Bridgeman. All right. Then I'll ask everyone, we've done it every book, so I'll ask it again this time. Pick which one character from this book would you choose to marry?
Why is this a question?
Because it's tradition now, Justin.
I think I was just trying to come up with questions during Elantris. I thought it's like, that'd be fun. And yeah, now it's tradition.
All right, I'll go with Yasna, of course.
Ooh.
Smart girl. Smart, resting bitch face, atheist girl. Sounds good to me.
I had a tough time deciding, but in the end, I'm going to go with Adolin. I think he's in a better position to be a husband, and it sounds like I would have an easier life with him than with Kaladin.
How are you going to come? I'll let you finish.
Yeah, and Kaladin, he's got too big of a heart. Like, this is why I would never, I could never be with someone who's like a doctor or a police officer or a paramedic. Like, I would just be like too selfish, and I wouldn't be able to let Kaladin go. save all his buddies and the world and stuff like that. So that's
And
why
how
it
are you
has
going to
to be April.
react when Adolin brings you out on like a murder investigation during a date?
I think we talked about that when that happened, and I would be fine with it. If I'm with anyone, we probably share the same interests, so I would be interested in what he's doing.
For me, I'd probably pick Shalon. I think she's kind of fun. She may have a little bit of dark stuff, maybe a little bit messed up too, but I think the good overshadows the bad.
She killed her father.
Well, I'm not her father, so it's fine.
I should hope not.
I think you have more problems if you were.
And this was one I forgot to ask Nick, so we don't have an answer from him.
Aw. We should text him right now and ask
would
him.
Would he answer that question?
Yeah, he would. Wait, has he ever answered that?
I've never asked him questions to answer for these, but hey, when he was on for the Cosmere check-in episode, he did his top 5 hottest characters.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is wife. This is wife material. This is like, who would you want to be your wife? That's a different question.
All right. And
I think he'd pick Yasna too, though. So you're gonna have to fight him, Justin.
I would lose.
All right. Well, now let's look forward to the next book we're reading, Words of Radiance. So I'm just gonna ask you, what are some things that you're looking forward to, or what do you want to see in the next book?
I want to see the Dalinar Kaladin team up very much, see how powerful they are with them both being quite skilled. And I want to see them fight assassin guy who gets sent over.
Zeph?
That, and I want to see more of what Teravingian's up to.
I want to see training with the radiant training for all the bridgemen, and I guess just a team being put together, using the powers and stuff like that. I want to see, this is probably, I don't know why, but I feel like in the future we're going to see entire armies of shard bearers rushing each other and stuff like that. I want to maybe have a Parshendi main character. That would be interesting. More Zeph, more non-Balat, more
non-Balat.
Yeah.
You want him as a main character, right? Who'll get chapters every time.
Yeah. I mean, we got introduced to the Ghost Bloods, and I feel like he's gonna be our link to them since he's back home. And her dad, and Shalon's dad, was one of the Ghost Bloods, maybe. So, yeah. I want to see maybe different parts of the world. There's a lot of countries and parts of them. I kind of want to see Rock's family. Yeah. So stuff like that.
All right. And then from Nick, asking him his answer. Answers. What is Syl? What are Spren? How do the Radiants lose? How do they enslave the Voidbringers? Why are Parshmen different? I'm sure we'll get more questions, though. Also excited to see the story arcs colliding, which sounds like all of them in Kholinar.
Oh, I forgot to say, I want Kaladin and Shalon and Jasna to have that love triangle. I want them to meet.
Oh, what did you just say? Can you repeat that?
I want to see Kaladin, Shalon, and Yasna meet and have a love triangle.
Okay, I misheard that. I swore you said Navani. Did I mishear that?
I did say that on accident first.
Okay, because
she corrected herself.
I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I thought you'd made up some kind of nonsense that I couldn't even fathom.
Ooh, mother-daughter romance.
Oh God, no.
It's weird because actually Yasna has a pretty good relationship with Dalinar. So they're in communication and stuff like that. So, but that is her uncle, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think it's funny that Nick wants answers, and I want to meet Rock's parents.
I just want to see more torture.
Crab torture?
No,
Ooh.
bloodletting
Oh.
science torture.
You know what? I bet Capsule is there.
Capsule is dead, Sheta.
I don't know. I don't believe Yasna, but that's probably true. But you know what? I bet he went there to get his final words recorded, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then I'll just ask a couple quick predictions. So, this book, we had flashbacks, like in the show Lost, and this book was for Kaladin. Now, each book, it's going to be a different character getting flashbacks. So, who do you think will be the flashback character for Words of Radiance?
Shallan.
Yeah, Shallan.
She has a mysterious past.
Mm-hmm. Did you kill your father?
What did you do, Shallan? What did you do?
Yeah. What have you done? Like that.
No, that was Kate's thing in Lost.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't
What
know
did
you were
you
doing
do,
that.
Kate?
I see. Is that
And they're like, you
nonchalant
have to let
asking?
go, Kaladin. You have to let go.
Oh my god.
All kinds of stuff you can do here.
Well, we already had Kaladin saying we have to go back.
Yep, that too.
Oh, it's all connecting.
And then from Nick, he also said, Shallan, we have some unanswered questions about her past. But to be, from Joe, to be fair, there's also some mysteries with Dalinar's past, too.
Yes. Did you even love your wife? That's what I'd ask him.
All right. And then next, I'm going to ask you, who will be the POV character for the prologue? Now, I'll let you know, the prologue in this book was, the night of Gavilar's death from Szeth's point of view. The prologue in the next book will also be the night of Gavilar's death, but from somebody else's point of view. So who do you think it will be?
I think it'll be Dalinar's, and we'll see how he feels, what state he was in, how different he was back then, and I think it will be the beginning of what?
No, finish. I'm sorry. I'll see it after.
No, what is it? I was pretty much done.
I was like, Dalinar was passed out. There's no POV.
Yeah, that's why I think it'll be him partying and relaxing, passing out, waking up, and hearing that his brother is dead. Basically,
that's not much of a prologue.
It is the way it is in my head.
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm sorry. I'm not making fun of you.
I didn't think you were. Should I be worried that you were? I just thought you were making an innocuous comment. Jeez.
Okay. Like, that's a stupid prediction.
My God.
No. I think it might be. Well, I guess we don't really know who all was there. They might like glue on some people who were also there just to the side, Like maybe it was Yasna or something. Like, yeah.
Well, why wouldn't Yasna have been there?
Maybe she was underage and she couldn't party yet.
She's like mid-30s in this book, so she'd be like 29 or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then I think it will be Yasna. Yeah, I think that would be the most interesting. Or Sadeas.
Well, Sadeas was the decoy during that night.
That would be funny to see.
All right, and then from Nick, maybe someone who wasn't mentioned before. Maybe Elokar.
I think that might give too much away, but that could be an interesting way to start to really learn what he would. Yeah, if you start with him having visions and stuff, yeah, that could be quite interesting.
Elokar?
Oh, I'm mixing it up. Never mind.
Like,
I thought it was Galavar that was said.
Oh, and then at the end he's like, I'm dead now, like that. I gotta write this note real quick for my brother. He must find it. And then he'd
get a vision right at the end. That's what it would be.
You know what? That's pretty good. Gavilar. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
And then which character do you think will be the point of view character for chapter 1?
You should have been like, for chapter 14, who will be the POV character?
First person to start us off. Which I think will set the tone too for the book. Like,
I think it'll be Shallan, because they're not going to start with the new things in the camp that we're all interested to see, but they are going to want to start us off with something familiar, and it'll be them kind of starting to see, like, either leaving for or arriving at the Shattered Plains and seeing it through their eyes for the first time. So it's new to her. That's
Ah,
my guess.
that's really good. Because I feel like Shallan's chapter was quite early, if not also the first one in the first book, where she arrives there at that town. Yeah.
I think it was chapter 3. Because chapter 1 was Sen seeing Kaladin fighting in the battle. Chapter 2 was 8 months later of Kaladin being a slave. So I think Shallan was chapter 3.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Adolin, actually, who I think and hope will be a bigger character in the next book.
And then from Nick, his guess was, Kaladin is a likely guess.
Hmm.
And you know what? Justin said it, so for the hell of it, which character will be the POV character for chapter 14?
A new character we've never met. His name will be Spizzle.
Bissell.
Yes.
I'm just gonna. I think to make it to kind of help my bet a little bit, I'm just gonna go with Dalinar.
Now, I don't know what the answer is, so when we get to that week, I'll see how close you two are.
I feel like I have a better chance than Justin.
I will give Justin points if it is a new character. It does not need to be a character named Spizzle.
Ooh.
But I get money if it is a character named Spizzle.
Yeah, you get $1 million.
Yes. All right. All right, and now I'll ask, which character do you think might die in Words of Radiance?
Oh, don't.
Dalinar.
Yes. No, it can't be Dalinar.
I was surprised he made it through this book, so I think the odds are pretty high he will die, and Adolin will have to take over the armies.
You said that at the beginning of this book too.
Yeah, and I thought it would happen, so I'm still assuming it will.
Jeez. Oh, just because his list is on a kill list, you think he's gonna die?
I don't think that's how he'll die.
I kind of feel like Aylin's gonna die, even though I don't want him to. You know, I like him a lot, but Dalinar is much more interesting than he is, and I don't think anyone would really want to follow him instead of Dalinar, except for me. Yeah.
And then from Nick, his guess is Sadeas.
No, not Sadeas.
Why? He'll die and he'll be like, "I'm sorry, old friend. I didn't believe in you." And
All
then they
right,
kiss.
and then I'll just ignore that and go on. All right, which character would upset you the most if they died?
Dalinar.
Yeah.
Same answer for me. I'll be
pissed.
very...
Yeah, I think his story is the strongest and is the core of the book. So I just don't know. It wouldn't make sense to me to get rid of him.
All right, and then from Nick, his answer, Kaladin. He's like the main guy, and he has so much more storyline left. They probably won't kill him, so I would say Syl next, because that would be sad.
That would be brutal, man.
Ooh. Yeah, I could see that. Killing her and then bringing a new Spren in, like, to be like, yeah, that's what happens to Spren when your honor dies or something, that would be very sad.
Yep, so that's all the questions that I have for that right now. So next, we'll move on to, as I said last week, I was giving you two a piece of homework. I told you to reread the Ishik interlude. You had the three guys, Blunt, Grump, and Thinker, who were searching for Hoid. So I want you to tell me, what are their real names?
I got nothing. I read that a few times. I got nothing, man. I'm sorry.
Just try. Jeez.
Try? I couldn't guess who those... I read the descriptions. I got nothing. So I'd like to hear yours, Sheta, to see what you came up with.
Okay. I didn't know either. I did scrutinize the description and the way they talked and the way they interacted with each other and stuff to try to make a guess. And I don't know why you're asking us to do this. I'm also thinking of that too. Like, do we even know them? Have we ever met them before? Why are you asking us this? So I tried my best, and also I could be wrong because I don't remember the descriptions of all the characters we've seen. But okay, I have two guesses. The first guess is that Grump is Denth, Blunt is Vasher, and Thinker is Claude.
What? Thinker is Claude? That is the funniest shit I've heard. I love that shit.
Because he doesn't talk at all. He's just kind of like, he's got a scar on his head, and he's just kind of there, you know. But then,
Does that mean this
Dent,
is based before Warbreaker when they were still friends?
it could be. We don't know what kind of adventures that Vasher has gone on and stuff. And he knew Dent, you know, so like, I don't know. Dent or Grump, it sounds kind of like Dent. I don't know. Blunt is kind of a soldier, so I thought that would be like Vasher, but I don't know.
I don't believe it, but I do love it. The best I could give you was that the dark-skinned bald guy was Sazed. That was the best. I don't believe it is. The other ones, I couldn't think of another dark-skinned, broad-shouldered character. And I don't even know that Sazed's dark-skinned. I just know people fan cast him as.
Yeah.
And then the quiet guy, I didn't have a guess. Oh, you have more?
That was my first guess. My second guess is a different
More?
group.
Okay.
Yeah. My second guess is that Grump is Sazed, and he's got thick arms because he's using his bracelets to give him bigger arms in a different shape and stuff. And he's kind of like been through a lot, so he's more grumpy. And then Blunt would be Ham because he is taller and more soldiery and stuff like that. And then Thinker is Kaladin, but dead Kaladin, so he's kind of still regenerating.
Kaladin or Kelsier?
Kelsier, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I wrote Kaladin, but I meant Kelsier. They somehow have Kelsier here, and like he's still regenerating, so he's just quiet and thinking.
Yeah, but does Ham have specifically dark skin? That's my problem with those. Same
Yeah,
with
I don't-
Dent and them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
However, the characters are so loosely described, I couldn't know, you know.
Yeah.
So, best I got was one guess that I don't believe, and I hope it's not, because that wouldn't make sense to me. I love your first one, though, shit. I want it to be that. Like some relatively minor characters from one of the least remembered, like, books, you know?
Yeah, the Grump doesn't really sound like Sazed. It's just the baldness.
No, not really.
Yeah.
All right. You guys got none of them.
You should have
What?
said you got them right.
You should have just
Nope.
said, "We'll see," and let me think I got him right.
Nope. So I'll let you know. So Blunt, large, you know, taller, you know, broader.
Wait.
You know, dark.
I don't want
Wait,
to
you're
know
gonna
who they
tell us
are.
now?
I don't want to know. The book didn't tell me, so I don't want to hear who they are.
Yeah, I don't
even
want
if
to
it's
know.
just from
There-
this book.
There are enough hints here, and it goes into what
I
I was
don't
going to
care
go into
how many
next.
goddamn hints there are. If I didn't get it and the book didn't tell me, I don't want to know, man.
All right.
If the writer wanted me to know, simpleton me who's just reading this, he will tell me. That's my feeling. Just like how he's like, we assumed that was Hoid, and then he confirmed it was Hoid. I wouldn't want to hear he was Hoid before we were told. That's my feeling on it.
I also don't want to know because I didn't guess it, so I don't want to.
Yeah,
know.
if we guessed it, that would be something different.
All right. Well, next thing I'm going to move on to the letter. I'm just going to read the whole letter. That were the epigraphs from part 2. So the entire letter. Old friend, I hope this missive finds you well. Though as you are now essentially immortal, I would guess that wellness on your part is something of a given. I realize that you're probably still angry. That is pleasant to know. Much as your perpetual health, I have come to rely upon your dissatisfaction with me. It is one of the Cosmere's great constants, I should think. Let me first assure you that the element is quite safe. I have found a good home for it. I protect its safety like I protect my own skin, you might say. You do not agree with my quest. I understand that, so much as it is possible to understand someone with whom I disagree so completely. Might I be quite frank? Before you ask why I was so concerned, it is for the following reason. A.T. was once a kind and generous man, and you saw what became of him. Race, on the other hand, was among the most loathsome, crafty, and dangerous individuals I've ever met. He holds the most frightening and terrible of all the shards. Ponder on that for a time, you old reptile, and tell me if your insistence on non-intervention holds firm. Because I assure you, race will not be similarly inhibited. One only need look at the aftermath of his brief visit to Cell to see proof of what I say. In case you have turned a blind eye to that disaster, know that Aona and Sky are both dead, and that which they held has been splintered, presumably to prevent anyone from rising up to challenge Race. You have accused me of arrogance in my quest. You have accused me of perpetuating my grudge against Race and Bavadin. Both accusations are true. Neither point makes the things I have written to you untrue. I am being chased. Your friends of the 17th Shard, I suspect. I believe they're still lost, following a false trail I left for them. They'll be happier that way. I doubt they have any inkling what to do with me should they actually catch me. If anything I have said makes a glimmer of sense to you, I trust that you'll call them off. Or maybe you could astound me and ask them to do something productive for once. For I have never been dedicated to a more important purpose, and the very pillars of the sky will shake with the results of our war here. I ask again, support me. Do not stand aside and let disaster consume more lives. I've never begged you for something more before, old friend. I do so now.
It's so interesting because it implies this much bigger story than we're actually seeing here. So I'm very curious to learn more about that.
Mm.
And going along with that, do you guys remember 2 years ago when we finished Elantris, I told you not to read the Ars Arcanum?
Yes.
And I read part of it and I cut out some stuff. So at this point, around this time, around the time that the second book came out is when, this Elantris with this Ars Arcanum. So I'm just going to read the Ars Arcanum and include the stuff that I kept out.
You said it came out around this time? That
Yeah.
version? That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Because I didn't want to read it at that time because there was more information in there than we would have known at the time since we only read one book.
Yeah.
All right, so just some stuff about Aondor, and then beneath, find a list of concepts unique to Aondor. I intend someday to understand how these are all related and why they are so distinctive to this realm and its magics. Precision. For an Aeon to work, it must be drawn with absolute precision. Indeed, my research shows that other potential uses of the door also require exactness, far more so than any other type of magic I've as yet encountered. Again, this seems to point at distinctiveness, as most other forms of investiture are only concerned with perception. Elsewhere, if you think you're doing something correctly, it often works. But here, even a tiny mistake in drawing invalidates the Aeon. Intention. As in other forms of investiture, intent is very important. An Elantrian can't accidentally draw an Aeon. Because of their complexity, this would be highly unlikely, but I have tested it to my satisfaction. One must wish to draw an Aeon and have an inkling of the required shape before anything will happen. Birthplace. I'm increasingly certain that every being on Cell has some spiritual connection to the door and investiture, much as you find on most other planets settled by a full shard of Ada Nulsium. Uniquely on Cell, however, one spiritual connection to birthplace determines the flavor and style of their invested connection. I have no viable theories as to the reason for this. Initiation. Though the general public sees the hand of a divinity in who is chosen to become an Elantrian, I find this unlikely, considering that their gods are dead, and, by my best guess, have been for a very long time. I wonder if they know they are channeling the corpses of those gods in the outpouring of their magics. How, then, is a practitioner of Aondor initiated? It does not appear to be tied to family descent, as one finds a Scadrial, nor is it a specific shard's decision, as on Nulthis. Even Taldane and Vax's methods do not seem to apply here. I can only surmise random chances involved unless there is a hidden pattern I have not been able to discern.
That's a fucking lot of stuff. That's super interesting. So one, those planet names, I recognize the one, what were all of those different places he said, were all of those have books at this time, or was there any names that had not had a book yet?
The only one that does not is Vax.
Okay, that's really cool then.
Yeah, because it mentioned, investiture, or pretty much in the Cosmere, investiture is their word for like magic and stuff.
Yeah.
So it talks about how in Scadrial it's tied to family descent. We saw that in Mistborn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It said that on Nulthis, it seems to be what was the wording it used? Nor is it a specific shard's decision, as on Nulthis. And Nulthus is Warbreaker.
Mm.
And then the other thing it said that Alt said was, and it doesn't seem like it's like on Tuldane or Vax. We don't know what Vax is, but Tuldane is white sand.
White sand gets in.
White
That's
sand.
super interesting. The Shard of Adonasium thing, that tells us a lot. It sounds like whatever this entity or thing is was destroyed or let parts of itself off like little Jesuses down to each area. And it sounds to me, don't confirm, but like that's what makes magic exist on these worlds, or maybe even life, So that's really interesting. That's a huge thing. And then the use of the word shard, same in the letter, makes me wonder what connection that has to shard plate and shard blades, Very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I would not have wanted to read that after reading Elantris. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's too much info. That would mean nothing to me,
The biggest reason why I wanted to leave it out, because I skipped it before, because this one, it talks about how they don't know that their gods are dead and they're channeling the power of their dead gods. It's talking about that.
That's true. That's true.
When we read Elantris, we had nothing about gods in there. We didn't even see it. There might have been gods involved until the end of Well of Ascension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. No, I would not have wanted to read that. So
now, taking that involved, does reading that add anything to this letter I've read to you?
Well, no, not to me. Am I missing something, Sheta?
Just that whoever wrote that, which I have a guess, is aware of all the information that you just read, and it has a bigger scope of that. Saying all the worlds in general, knowing about them and stuff like that. I think, yeah, of course it does.
Right.
Whoever wrote that is aware,
Yeah, well, yeah. I think it's the same person, and I think it's Hoid both times because we know he travels these things. But
he has a friend.
What's that? He has a friend?
Yeah, he has a friend who does writes notes to him sometimes.
What do you mean?
It's in just the pictures and the maps and stuff. He has his name on the side, and
oh, you're right. There is
they
that
have
other
notes.
name. So yeah, it could be that guy. That's true. I really think it's fun, this idea of these magic worlds and this person going around scientifically mapping them out. I find very funny.
Yep. Well, here, I'm going to reread this one small section of that letter. One only need look at the aftermath of his brief visit to Cell to see proof of what I say. In case you have turned a blind eye to that disaster, know that Aona and Sky are both dead, and that which they have held has been splintered, presumably to prevent anyone from rising up to challenge race.
I mean, I could make theories, but I got nothing concrete, I could assume that what was held would be, I don't know, Adonalsium, whatever that means, or the shard of whatever, but I could not. That would just be guess stuff.
Cell is Mistborn, right?
Yeah.
Cell is
perfect sense. Oh.
Cell is Elantris.
Oh, okay. Then never mind.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing more, but for now I would only be speculating.
And one other part is before you ask why I'm so concerned, is for the following reason. A.T. was once a kind and generous man, and you saw what became of him. Do you recognize the word A.T. at all?
Unless you're going to tell me that it's something to do with ATM, I have no idea.
Well, Justin, what was ATM?
I don't even remember. I remember it was one of the medals.
It's the future-seeing medal, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
But at the end of Hero of Ages, what was it?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
ATM was the body of ruin.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. That would answer that question. Oh, yeah, it was. How did I forget that? Yes. Yeah, I thought that one of those names, or that one specifically might, yeah.
So it says, A.T. was once a kind and generous man, and you saw what became of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Race, on the other hand, was among the most loathsome, crafty, and dangerous individuals I've ever met.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll just do those couple things. There's other names in there that I recognize and stuff, but I'm
sure there are
much more into that.
I'm sure this is all going to be very fun to go through someday.
All right. Next, quickly, I want to play a little bit of a game. I just want to see how well you guys would do. You can work together. How many members of Bridge 4 from this book can you name? Whether they be important or one-off like mentions in the book. I put them together. There were 33 members of Bridge 4 throughout this book. Let's see how many of them you can name.
I don't even know if I can name the named ones.
Are they including the dead ones?
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
This includes any of them that got a mention in this book as a member of Bridge 4.
Oh, you have Teft, Sigil, Lopin, Kaladin, Moash,
Hold down.
Rock, and I'll leave the rest to you, Sheta.
Dunny, Earless Jack, Maps, Scar. No, I feel like there was one that was kind of like Scar, but yeah,
Scar
there
was
was
one.
a guy named. Yeah, okay. You can't just leave me hanging now, Justin. Help me out.
I got the hard ones. I'll leave you the easy ones. Sheta,
Did you say-
literally every name you've said, besides Earless Jack, if that was even right, I don't remember any of those names.
Did you say Lopin? Yeah.
I did. I said all the the ones who are main characters. That's it. The rest are up to you. I could not even. I am so bad with names of main characters. Those side characters, I cannot do.
What about the nice guy whose sandals that Kaladin took?
We never
got a
didn't
name
ever
for
know
him.
his name. So he should. I'll say that guy because we didn't know his name. I'll just call him Sandal Guy. And
That it?
Yeah, I tap out.
yeah,
I cannot do this.
All right. So I think the other ones that I feel like were kind of important in this book that had stuff going for them. Shen,
oh
the
Shen,
Parshman
that would have
one.
been an easy one.
And then the other ones that kind of did more stuff would be Leighton, Drahe, and Dabbid. Drahe just got mentioned a number of times throughout the book. Leighton was the one that was really messed up at the beginning, and Kaladin saved him, and then he he put together their armor towards the end.
Yeah.
And Dabbit is the one that's just super shell shocked and doesn't speak. And also Hobber. Hobber was the guy, he took the arrow in the leg when Kaladin first helped people, and he was all in on Kaladin then after he saved his life.
Yeah, now he only hoppers. He hoppers around.
Yep. And then so for the rest of the members of Bridge 4, a lot of these people were people who were named a single time, and it's like, oh yep, so-and-so died. We have Adis, Amark, Eric, Bissig, Coral, Delp, Gaddle, Idler, Kulf, Korm, Malop, Merc, Narm, Natum. Oh, Pete was one where you've heard his name a few times in there, but he was never super big in this book. And then Torfin, Treff, and Yake.
How could I forget Narm? I'm sad.
Well, he was one of the 3 that died in that final section.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, just a quick fun little game just to see how well you do at remembering.
How many did we get out of 30? Or whatever.
You got 10. You got about
Hey,
just under a third.
not bad.
But granted, seeing that most of them were one-off names, like I said, the only big ones you really missed would have been, like I said, Dabbid, Drahe, Hobber, Leighton, and Shen. All right, and now we are going to move on to our fan casting section. So, section where a lot of people listening, they may just be turning off the episode right now.
Don't say that.
This is a greatly anticipated event, Joe.
Oh man, I love it. I love listening to fan castings, but I can understand some people being like, no. Even though this is the first important one. Because in the past, there was no hint of anything coming out. Now, there is work being done on a Stormlight show. So, Brandon can actually look at this and be like, you know what? We're going with this cast.
Yep.
Wow. We could be actually influential.
I think he was listening to like a podcast he was on once, and he was joking about how he thinks that he has seen Henry Cavill casted as every member of Mistborn in some way. including one where he saw one person's cast list, which was just Henry Cavill playing every single character.
Oh, well, let's hope.
All right. So, yeah. So, if people haven't listened to us before, usually what we'll do is Sheta will be the one guiding this. She'll pick which character we're doing. She'll put out her... Yeah, you always pick the characters that go.
Oh, okay.
You've done that every book. Yeah, so she'll pick the character she's casting, and then it will be Justin next, and then me. Then we'll go back to Sheta. And once again, if you want to check out the images and stuff going along with it, our YouTube page will have a video that will have pictures along with it. So here you go, Sheta. Let's get started with you. Start with the casting.
Dang. Okay. Well, okay. I started my casting with Dalinar. Now,
Dalinar.
Yeah, do you think that's too soon?
No. You do whatever you want.
Okay.
You want to explain the logic of your casting, like the world?
Yeah.
Before you start putting, because I've got mine to explain too.
So for my casting, I know that the characters are kind of described like with the epigraphs folds and being like looking more like traditionally Asian and tan, but I just kind of went with what I imagined for the characters and more like a made up non-race people. So my casting is just kind of all over the place for race wise and look wise. So, but I do have an overall kind of vibe and look that I'm trying to go for in my grouping, in my casting groups. Okay. And I am going with things like if they are tan or tall, I try to do that kind of stuff for them, for the character. All right. So for my Dalinar casting, I'm going with Javier Bardem. I think he's always great, and he's got a very kingly looking face. He can play kind of a scary, powerful and bad guy kind of vibe. But I think he could also be something more powerful and gentle and stuff too.
Good. He was my light.
You're going for kind of a racially ambiguous. You don't really think about it. Cast, is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's badass. He can look scary. Yeah. For my cast, I took the kind of like, it seems like they're kind of a mixed race in the world, you know, like they have the occipital folds and it says they have kind of a darker skin. I did not try to match it all to that, but I did lean towards, I think everyone in my cast except two people is of like mixed race with some like specifically Eastern Asian in the race. Usually it's Caucasian and then some like Chinese, Vietnamese, Japanese, that kind of stuff. So I felt I don't know if I felt kind of like a freaking Nazi purist going through everyone's like ethnic backstories and stuff, which was kind of creepy to do, but I think it gives it a pretty unique looking cast. So to start with my Dalinar, I went with Keanu Reeves because I wanted a guy who could do kind of like a worn down older guy who's kind of lost his touch, but then could also switch to like an intense, like serious guy at the drop of a hat. So yeah.
Oh my, I love it.
So I think he'd look very badass with that armor, which is what's most important.
It's so fun because I'm imagining now him saying all these iconic lines as Keanu Reeves, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yep, and so yeah, for my casting, I did try to stay, Asian for most of them, besides like the characters like Zeth who are not. I didn't worry too much about like the skin tones like tan or like Shallan being lighter skinned. But anyways, for my Dalinar, this one, it's just been stuck in my... It's a popular choice for Dalinar. I know I've heard other people say it, but it's one that's just been stuck in my head pretty much ever since I first read the book. Because when I was first reading it, the person who got me to read the books, they told me, yep, when you think of Dalinar, think of this person. So because of that, this person has always been my Dalinar. And it is Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista? Wow.
What the?
That's a popular
Yeah.
Dalinar? That's crazy.
Yep. Of course, it'd have to be Dave Bautista from a few years ago because nowadays he's trimmed down and stuff. He's gotten rid of a lot of the bulk. Still incredible shape, but he's not carrying like the pro wrestler sized weight. But I just feel like him, just having like the size that kind of shows an old war person. If he grew out his hair a little bit, having some gray in there, kind of maybe look a little like weathered down and beaten. And also, just a really good actor. So much better than what I expected when he was first getting out of wrestling into acting.
Yeah.
That is a completely different vibe for Dalinar that I ever thought, but I
think a lot
see
of it
it,
just for the look, like kind of like unreal, unspecific race look,
Yeah, but also his vibe is like Dalinar's interesting because he's not the king. He's the king's kind of like younger brother, kind of party brother, like barbarian. You know what I mean? So I guess in my head I just saw him as such a kingly guy because this is after his kind of transformation into being more religious and stuff. But he is this at the core, or in his. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, the one problem I had with my castings, the violent scenes, I don't know if you can do kind of unhinged battle less crazy. I mean, I think he could, but Batista, he could do it for sure.
Yeah.
And it
Keanu
likely
Reeves.
helps that
Sorry, he's
I've
one of
watched
the tallest
wrestling
guys.
it likely helps that I've watched wrestling for a long time, so I'm used to I've seen a young Batista just destroying people, and now we have an older Batista that's not wrestling and just acting, so.
Yeah, I can see why that's a popular casting. Though it's not what's in my head, that's for sure.
All right. Did Nick send any castings?
We don't need another thing of casting. This already is not like a lot.
Sheta, that's another reason. That's part of the reason why he's not on here, because he wouldn't really want to do the castings.
Okay. All right. Well, next we'll go with Adolin, Dalinar's son. And for me, I picked Rami Malek. I thought he could be princely and interesting, but like also kind of be step back a little and let his dad kind of be the center of everything that's happening, but also be very interesting and supportive too. So,
all right, for my Adolin, I wanted somebody who can look relatively handsome, do the physicality, but also isn't going to steal the scene from any of the other characters. Let's see. And also would kind of look a little like Keanu Reeves' son, even though he's absolutely not. So I went with Louis Tan, who we just saw as Cole Young in Mortal Kombat.
He could totally be Keanu's son.
And somebody I believe gets a lot of girls, but also gets rid of them. And somebody who, a young guy too. I wanted somebody younger, youngish.
Yep, that's good. Just you'll get to see him arguing with Keanu Reeves.
And they've got about the same acting range. I think that'll help.
Wow. It was hard to find father and son actors because I was like, my Dalinar would be 13 when he had Adolin.
I am not even taking that into account. Keanu Reeves looks a lot younger than he actually is, as does Dave Bautista, as does actually I have no idea how old Javier Bardem is. So these guys, as long as they look good in proportion to each other, I think that's what matters.
Yeah. When we got Hollywood magic to do that.
Yeah, I've seen Hollywood where you've had it where people are like 4 years apart and they're playing, parent and child, or sometimes like the child's technically younger than the parent or older than the parent.
Do you remember Hansel and Gretel where Jeremy Renner is supposed to be that girl's twin sis brother?
Yes, with only a few decades apart.
Or you had or like the Rob Zombie Halloween where you had Danielle Harris in her 30s playing a high school girl.
Yeah, that too.
But for my Adolin, I went with somebody who can do the action scenes because he's been in a lot of action stuff, and also somebody who I think kind of is pretty good looking, so all the girls will be attracted to him. I went with I don't know if it's pronounced Mackenyu or Mackenyu, People recently, they might know him as Roanoa Zoro in the live-action One Piece.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Otherwise, when I looked at his history, he's been in a lot of live-action manga adaptations. He played, he was in the live-action adaptation of JoJo's Part 4, playing like the guy whose stand can like erase stuff and like erase space and stuff like that. He played a character in live-action Tokyo Ghoul. He played the final villain in the live-action Rurouni Kenshin. He played somebody in the sequel to the live-action Full Metal Alchemist movie. He played Seiya in the live-action Saint Seiya movie.
Do we really need his entire freaking filmography?
I just think it's ridiculous how many live-action manga adaptations this guy has been in. And the Saint Seiya one that came out 2 years ago, which also somehow had Sean Bean and Famke Janssen.
So he's an anime character.
Just in real life.
Yeah. So we've seen him with green hair where he can pull it off. So I bet he could pull off some mostly blonde hair.
Oh yeah, I forgot how many of these guys are going to have dyed hair.
Well, I think most of them will be dark. It's just Renar and Adolin, their hair's mostly blonde with some black in it.
So next we'll cast the brother Renarin. So I'm casting Dane DeHaan as Renarin.
Dane DeHaan.
I think he looks like he could look like Remy Malek and have those kind of like big eyes. And he seems like the more like sickly and pale brother and stuff.
Jeez, that's mean.
Well, he is, and he's a little less, athletic and stuff like that. I thought that was good. And we know he looks good in a suit, so whenever he gets his shard plate, he'll look good. From
what's the movie? Valkyrie or
Valerian?
Valerian, yeah.
Valerian, yeah.
I included a Valerian picture.
So for my Renarin, I wanted somebody who looks like they're part of the family, but since he does so little in this book, I couldn't cast anyone as big as Dane DeHaan, because I don't know what he's going to do in the future. So I wanted somebody who you can notice is there, but they're not going to steal the spotlight in any way whatsoever, who also looks a bit younger than the other. So I went with Jordan Connor, who you may know as Sweet Pea from Riverdale.
Sweet Pea?
Sweet Pea.
I remember the name. I haven't.
He was part of the Serpents. He was like kind of the secondary guy who was always talking to Jughead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's good. Did not do much in there either, and he won't do much in here. I may regret that in a future book. We will see.
They'll recast him between seasons of the show.
Sad. Poor Sweet Pea.
No, I'm keeping him. He's set.
All right. For mine, I just kind of went with somebody who, in my mind, can play the sort of like a, I guess, nerdy-ish role. Or not super nerdy, but kind of that vibe of Renarin. So I went with Steve Ewing.
He's so good.
I know him.
Well, Joe also knows that Renarin does more later on, so he can cheat a little bit.
Okay. He would.
Yeah, I know him. Mostly as Glenn from Walking Dead. I know he's been in some other stuff in later years, like he got nominated for an Academy Award. And when I was looking for a picture, I somehow lucked into finding a picture of him wearing glasses. So.
Man, he's too good to be just Renarin. But I
think Renarin's going to be a huge character, Sheta.
Yeah, I hope so. Mm-hmm. I like him a lot.
I feel that he is. That's why I'm worried about my casting. Both of your castings. Wait, Sheta, you cast Dane DeHaan, and you're like, oh, Stephen Yeun, a TV actor, is not good enough for that role. But Dane DeHaan, a guy who's like a leading movie man, we'll cast him as this minor character.
Well, I think he's going to be big too, but my whole cast is a lot like more famous and stuff.
So let's see. Also, I just want to see fathers and sons. Javier Bardem, father to Rami Malek and Dane DeHaan. That's your kind of family, Sheta.
Yeah.
Dave Bautista, father to Zorro. What's his name, Joe? Makanyu. And Stephen Yen. I'd love to see the mother in that relationship. And then Keanu Reeves, father to Louis Tan and Sweet Pea. Okay.
Also,
Cute.
when I was looking up Mac and You, I found out his father was also an actor, who you will know as Hattori Hanzo from Kill Bill.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow. No wonder. He's got those connections. All right. So next, we'll cast another relative of theirs, their cousin Elakar, aka the King. And I went with Pete Davidson.
I see you really focused on the eyes on this family. Make sure they
Yeah.
all look kind of similar.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Also,
that second picture, Sheta?
it's just such a. I like him, pretty good. He's just got such a punchable face. I can't wait for him to get just punched.
I guess I mostly just know him from watching Saturday Night Live, and I find him funny on there.
Sheta, King Pete Davidson. That's gonna. I don't know how people will react in that trailer
He
when
will
they
be
don't
king.
know the character's part.
He'll be a king. That would be so fun. But everyone's kind of like, all right, I
Yeah.
guess. I thought he looks like the other guys, and like a little bit younger and a little bit like less serious too than the other guys. So I thought that was, and this was mostly for you, Justin.
What? So I could punch him?
Yeah, so you can punch him.
No, I
Also, you
see
have
the
that
family resemblance.
You have the picture with all the tattoos. He's removed like all his tattoos now.
See, he's a guy who makes rash decisions and might regret them later.
That is true.
Now, I have a rule to not, or so far I've followed it, to not do any recasts, but I had to for this situation just because of how limited my actor pool was. But since I casted him as such a minor character, I'm not worried about it. Well, I wanted an Elakar, kind of like you, Sheta, who is a bit punchable, could play an unlikable character if he needed to. But I also wanted somebody who kind of could look kingly until you get to know him. So I went with Charles Melton, who you also know from Riverdale as Reggie. He played that one annoying guard in Emperor's Soul.
First soul.
Oh,
So
what?
that's my recasting, and I'm sorry about that. I've tried. I don't want to do that, but for this situation, I felt I had to.
That's hilarious. That's such a small role.
Exactly, since it's a nothing role.
I guess for mine, I didn't really go with somebody with a punchable face. I went with somebody that I felt like could look like a king. Mainly because I was thinking, all right, Navani's described as good looking, Yasna's described as good looking. The king should be good looking too. And I bet this guy probably could play like a wimpy person. I don't know. I haven't really seen him do that, but I mostly went based off looks. So I went with Louis Tan.
Wow.
We have very different images of Louis Tan.
Oh, I was very close. It was between either him or Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians.
I've never seen it. You don't know how mad I was that I never watched Crazy Rich Asians when I was casting this movie. Because there were a lot of people that fit my criteria in there that I couldn't use.
Yeah, that's where. Yeah,
You
that's
could
a
have
good
quickly
source.
watched the movie.
I wasn't going to just watch it for this casting.
All right, nice. Okay, so I guess we'll go from Elakar to his mother, Navani, described as very beautiful and wise, and kind of like the prize for the two previous kings. So I went with Miss Penelope Cruz. And so I just always thought of her because she's a mature woman who's still like really hot and stuff. But I didn't know that her and Javier Bardem are actually married.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I was
That's
like,
what I thought your casting was.
They will have some good chemistry then. So I thought that was good.
You didn't remember they were married?
No.
I swore you casted her before and said all this same stuff. Shit.
Did I?
No. It's because in Warbreaker, I casted him as Lightsong and her as Blushweaver, and I mentioned, yes, they are married.
I see. Yep. I guess I just forgot.
Yours was just Destiny?
Yeah, no, I just forgot. I just casted Javier, and I was thinking of someone like Penelope Cruz or another actress like her. And yeah, that was good. Oh yeah, sorry.
That's
Totally forgot that.
that's fine.
And for my Navani, I wanted somebody who, she's a bit older now. They're gonna have to use some makeup, but somebody who was older, around Keanu's age, for the casting, and can play like, she'll be eye catching, and you'll notice her, and she'll seem smarter, but could also play kind of a little more. I don't know. I just feel Navani isn't quite as important. Like, could be kind of a loser as she is when she opens up to him later. Either way, it doesn't matter. I went with Jennifer Tilly,
Wow.
who I was surprised to find out was fit my criteria.
Now I'm imagining her voice saying all those lines to Eleanor.
Mm-hmm. It'd be great.
Dang.
Oh, the voice too is really good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, I need to finish the Chucky show. I only watched a couple episodes of season 1.
Yes, best known for Seed of Chucky, of course.
I mean,
Yeah,
Tiffany's
not
still a huge Halloween costume. Well,
No, where she played herself, not Tiffany.
I see.
all right. So for me, I went with somebody where I felt that they could play like a strong woman, like being able to talk, stand up for themselves, that sort of stuff, and B, also who I thought would be beautiful. So I went with Michelle Yeoh.
That's true. I may have thought that Dalinar thought she was just hot and he was like salivating over her, but he just said she was very beautiful. So maybe I was just imagining things.
Well, I don't see Navani as strong as Michelle Yeoh portrays. So it's interesting to see the different ways everyone sees the characters.
Yeah.
I was more like I said, like earlier when I was talking about characters, like how she was able to kind of stand up to Sadius when confronting him at the end and like talk him back to wit. But also Michelle Yeoh, I feel like she can play like the weaker sort of person, like when she broke down to Dalinar.
She can do whatever she wants, right?
Yeah, that's nice. Speaking of Sadius, we will cast him next. Okay, and this is a little bit of a typecast, but okay. My Sadius is Benicio del Toro.
Wow, Jesus.
Because he's so good at being like that guy you don't know if you can trust or not. He's so charismatic and you want to like him and trust him and have him be your friend, but he can also like easily stab you in the back.
Just got to put him in big red armor.
Yeah.
For my Sadius, I also wanted a guy who can be likable but can also be unlikable at the same time. And I went with, I think this guy's a little too handsome to play Sadius, as is yours, Sheta. But I went with Daniel Henney, who you may remember from The Wolverine as Agent Zero.
Ooh.
But he's been at a lot of other stuff. That's just what I know him best from.
Yeah, I also know him as Lan from the Wheel of Time show. All right. And so then for my Sadius, I went with somebody where, same thing. It's a guy where charismatic. You believe that you could trust him. But he's also a guy where I've seen him play villains very well. So I went with Hiroyuki Sanada.
Oh, no. I just trust him so much.
And that's why he turns out to be the bad guy, like in The Wolverine.
That was a twist.
Not really. He was a jerk the entire movie.
Yeah, but that's why I trusted him. Jerks usually are supposed to be like, honest. Like,
I don't know what your image of jerks is, Shayna.
well, like if they're a jerk to your face, they're not gonna also stab you in the back,
He also played a bad person in Endgame. Granted, not a big scene.
He deserved a bigger role.
Yeah, that was wasted. He
he
played
was
a criminal.
supposed to be in. He's played everything. Anytime there's a movie where they need like a bunch of Asian dudes, he's always in it because he's awesome. They always grab him because he can speak. He can sound like he has a thick accent. He can sound like he doesn't. He can do whatever he wants.
He is the Hollywood Japanese man. All right, so Yeah, that's it for this is what I would call the Shattered Plains crew. And now I guess we'll jump over to that one town that Shalon and Yasna are at.
Carbranth.
Carbranth. Yep. All right, so shall we start with our Shalon? Or yeah, we'll start with Shalon then, I guess. Oh. Okay, so my Shalon is Saoirse Ronan. I know her from Little Women, I guess. But she's also in Lady Bird. Like, I think she has a lot of good like dramatic range and kind of able to play like that spunky, smart young woman kind of thing. She's known to look good with red hair, and she has the right coloring. So
Does Shalon have red hair? I forgot that.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't remember any of the hairs, so imagining these actors with the hair colors they should have is quite fun.
Yeah, Shalon's is red.
For my Shalon, I went with somebody who can play kind of a relatable every girl, but can also be a little darker if you need her to be for her sad past, but can also be really spunky and annoying without being spunky and annoying. So I went with Chloe Bennett, who you would know from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Has she been in anything else besides Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I don't.
She was almost in Powerpuff Girls.
Okay. Yeah, I liked her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
Granted,
she's
I've
good.
only seen 2 seasons of that.
What?
All right. Then for me, for Shalon, I want somebody where they're a little bit older now, so we'd have to use a time machine to go with the younger version of them. But from I've seen them, she can play like the happy, bubbly sort of person that Shalon can be. And in the same role that saw her in, she can be a little bit sadder and more depressed. And also I think that she would look good if she dyed her hair red. So I went with Ellen Wong, who you will know as Knives Chow in Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Cute.
But yeah, that movie came out a while ago, so she's 40 now, so a bit older than Shalon's 17.
Holy. Oh.
But also, like I said, Danielle Harris could play a high schooler, so maybe she can too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah.
I mean, if that's her now, she still looks great, so.
I don't think that's her now. That's in the back. It says 2010 MTV Movie Awards.
Oh, geez. Okay. Only 26 or only 16 years. Sounds good.
All right. Then with Shalon, let's go with Yasna. All right. And I picked Aubrey Plaza as my Yasna.
Wow.
She could be sister to, my guys, Remy
Pete
Mac.
Davidson.
Yeah, yeah, Pete Davidson. She just has that intimidating and like kind of smart and I guess strange from like not normal, like not following the norm kind of thing. And but yeah.
So in that family, looks like Yasna got all the looks from Penelope Cruz. Not so much Pete Davidson, not so much Elcar.
Right. For my Yasna, I wanted somebody who can have good resting bitch face and kind of have that, I don't even know, like stand there and do and say nothing while still having presence kind of feeling. So I went with Olivia Munn.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I've seen her in The Newsroom. She was pretty smart in that role.
I don't know her from any real movies. I know her best from frickin' X-Men, so. Where I did find out that she demanded she wear the comic accurate costume, or relatively accurate, so she got my respect from that. Otherwise, it would have just been the same as everyone else wore.
Well, I think she has the connection to like the nerd culture from being on like Attack of the Show and G4 for it.
Yeah. I think she understands the audience a little better because of that. Even though that role fucking sucked and that movie was garbage.
Yeah, it sounds more like a script problem than an actress problem.
Yes.
All right. So for my Yasna, I went with somebody who I felt could play, intelligent and everything, and also somebody who, because described beautiful, so somebody who is beautiful. So I went with Olivia Munn.
Whoa.
What the fuck?
I really like that casting for her, actually.
It's because she's older but still youthful,
Yeah, and she just has that bitchy vibe, but like,
Mhm.
if you got close to her, she might be a little more vulnerable and stuff. So
Mhm.
All right. So
That's
like what we
funny.
did with Dalinar, let's look at the kids. So we have Penelope Cruz is mother to Pete Davidson and Aubrey Plaza. So Jennifer Tilly is mother to Charlie Melton and Olivia Munn. And then Michelle Yeoh is mother to Louis Tan and Olivia Munn.
Man, those are all some good-looking families. And of course, Pete Davidson. I mock, but he's been with so many famous chicks that I must be wrong. I must not see it.
He has his charm. All right. So for our kind of library crew, next we'll do Capsule. Well, I casted Charles Melton.
What?
He's just is kind of like, if he approached you with a basket of bread, I would eat it. Like
I didn't know you thought that Capsule was that good looking.
he is. He just basically turned Shalon into a schoolgirl and well, she is a schoolgirl, but yeah. For him to he's likable but has that charming aura, but I just think he also could be very sneaky and untrustworthy. He could play that.
For my capsule, I went with a guy who can be good looking and charming, but not too good looking and charming. You're not going to be that sad when he dies, and you could believe that she would. He could also kind of come off as creepy in a different light. I went with Ross Butler, who you would know as the superpowered version of Eugene Choi from Shazam.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't trust that.
I want you to be in the middle and believe it both ways.
It's been so long since I saw Shazam, so most of the adult versions of the Marvel family just completely blank for me.
He doesn't really do anything in the first movie. It's more the second movie.
Okay. Well, you told me not to watch the second movie.
It's garbage. It's terrible.
All right. So my capsule, I went with somebody who, probably, good looking. That way Shalon will immediately start falling for him. But also somebody who I felt is not like a big name actor since it's not a super big role. So I went with Charles Melton.
Jesus Christ. No way, man. No way. What is the disconnect here between me and you guys on this character?
Well, you made him your king, right?
Yeah.
He's just he's great, but he's kind of he's got that skeevy vibe. He's too handsome. I don't trust that.
Like I said, it's I've only seen 3 seasons of Riverdale, I think. So unless he does a lot more in the later seasons, I don't know. He's there, but he's not he's not as big as the other ones. So felt like perfect kind of level of actor for Capsule.
Yeah. Okay, so staying with that category, we'll go with King Taravangian next. So for my King Taravangian, I'm casting Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith.
He's kindly and fatherly, but he does have a secret agenda that is mysterious.
Are you thinking of his Dexter role?
He just has a mysterious magic behind him that, just for that and for in Star Wars, I felt like that.
Sheta, why does it say happy birthday to Jimmy Smits on your picture?
That's what I got.
Couldn't you get a different picture where it didn't
I like this
that?
picture. He looked very kindly.
I see.
Yeah. But yeah, I could also see him being very kind of psychotic and creepy. So
for my Taravangian, I also wanted somebody who could come off as kind of an old dopey idiot, you wouldn't think much of him. Would be very, very terrifying to find out that he was evil. And I was surprised to see fit my criteria with Tommy Chong. of Cheech and Chong, or maybe that 70s show
Wow.
you'd know him in.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, that's so creepy. Like, what are you getting up to in your basement? Like,
Oh man, just seeing Tommy Chong just murdering people.
that's very dark for some reason.
All right, then for me, I went with an actor. This one I went with an older actor, somebody who, you know, I've seen him play like kind of like a nice guy, somebody you can trust, but he's also played villain roles, and it's an actor that everyone has seen because he's been in a shit ton of stuff. Yeah, so I went with James Hong.
The Emperor.
He's been in like over 600 roles or some insane number like that.
Yeah, he's in so many movies.
I believe that he's got that secret hospital room.
Well, wasn't he like the villain in Big Trouble in Little China?
Oh yeah, I think he was, wasn't he?
And he's from Minnesota.
Wow. That wraps up that group. All right, then we'll move on to the sad, like, Sadius's
Bridge
camp.
4.
Yeah, Bridge 4 group. Sorry. With Kaladin. Okay, I had a lot of trouble with Kaladin. I needed a leading man, very dramatic, very strong. And so I had originally, if this is okay, casted Oscar Isaacs as my Kaladin. But then I was like, he's just too old to play Kaladin. Kaladin is specifically a young man and stuff, and you kind of need that variety because Dalinor's older. There's the ages of the characters is very important. So even though I really liked him and I thought he matched really well, I just had to pick someone else, and I did not know who to pick until I ran into this picture, which was like, huh. These two actors kind of look a lot alike.
The audience can't see it. You need to tell them what they're doing.
It's a picture of Oscar Isaac / Jacob Elordi and how they look very similar. And I was like, oh my god, that's perfect. Jacob Elordi is he's 6'5". That's perfect. And he's a young man, like, perfect. And then I happened to find these pictures of him carrying stuff on his back like a bridge. And I was like, oh my god, it's too perfect. So yes, Jacob Elordi is my Kaladin.
I'm sorry, what is Jacob Elordi in?
He is in Frankenstein. That's the only thing I've seen of him.
Okay.
But yeah, he's in Euphoria.
Creature.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was in Wuthering Heights.
Yes, he is. So I also included a picture of him with a beard to show that he can be all scruffy and like
You call that scruffy? He looks like Jesus.
He can have a beard, and then when he shaves, he can look like the other pictures.
Mm-hmm. All right, for my Kaladin, I wanted somebody who can play really depressed, but also really intense if he needs to, and also does seem a bit younger, and like he wouldn't stand out as the most important character. I went with Manny Jacinto, who you may know from Top Gun recently, or more recently, the horrible failure that was The Acolyte. But in The Acolyte, he's able to play kind of that intense sad boy thing that I want to see.
I can see it.
And he's a better actor than he gets credit for.
All right, so my Kaladin, I had to go with somebody where I felt like, all right, somebody who could be leading role, and also somebody who, when he needs to get to it, can fight, and also can act. So I went with Simu Liu.
Mm-hmm.
People know him as Shang-Chi from Shang-Chi and the upcoming Avengers Doomsday. And I had to go with a picture of him shirtless just because Kaladin is going to be shirtless a lot.
Oh, I forgot to say Manny Jacinto looks great shirtless. I should have said that as well.
I was going to say, why don't you include one of his greatest assets, Justin?
I'll see if I can find it for you.
I don't think that's necessary.
It is necessary.
For Kaladin.
Well, Sheta did not put a shirtless picture of Jacob Elordi.
That's true, Sheta.
I do have that in a separate folder.
I'm not posting mine. You can just imagine.
I got him carrying stuff, so I think that counts. All right. So we'll kind of go back in time and cast Kaladin's the flashbacks. So we'll start with his dad. So I have now this is back also when I had Oscar Isaacs as my Kaladin, but since I'm still gonna play it off like that, I'm casting Lirin as with Naveen Andrews.
I like it.
Yeah, he just seems like he'd be very wise, and if he was my dad, I would want to make him proud. He's from Lost and just Once Upon a Time, if you watched that.
And Planet Terror.
Oh yeah.
Well, I completely forgot to cast Lirin. So I am grabbing my overflow guy who I didn't get to cast before. I did not have a role for the poor guy because he's not that big of an actor. So this is purely a last second, just name was on the list. I'm casting Shannon Cook, who I know from The Conjuring as the cameraman. And that is it.
That is so wasteful, Justin.
He is not a huge actor. He does more TV roles. But I think he's got a kindly face. And I would be sad to see him be sad. So there's my casting.
Wow.
I had like 3 actors I couldn't find roles for. He got this one.
And for my Lirin, went with an actor where I feel like he has the right vibes for Lirin, able to play like the intelligent person, can play a person kind of against violence and everything. So I went with Ki-Hugh Kwan.
Oh.
People, more recently, you'll know him from like Everything Everywhere All at Once. Or you may also know him as a child actor in The Goonies and Temple of Doom.
Cute. Yeah, I wouldn't want to disappoint him too. If he was my dad. Alright. We'll stay in the past and go with casting Roshon. And my Roshon is Alexander Siddig.
What are you doing to the poor guy?
Yeah.
that was
So Alexander Siddig is my Roshon from Deep Space Nine, and I thought he just had a really intense look, and he could be very scary and intimidating, but also very lordly. Did you know that his uncle is Malcolm McDowell?
I did not. That's interesting.
Yeah, I did not know that either, but you can see it in his kind of nose and mouth. I thought it was just like very obvious, and the eyes. So, yeah.
You have these images of him as Doran Martell in Game of Thrones. Another reason not to watch that show. It's they completely misuse Alexander Siddig in that.
Really? He's great. That's such a shame, man. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I thought, he's in Game of Thrones. I didn't watch that far, so like.
Yeah, if you like the actor, or if you're interested in the whole Dorn storyline and Doran Martell stuff, that's a storyline where they decided, no, we don't need this. We'll make up our own shit and completely just shit all over it.
Ugh. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I didn't ever watch that far, but I thought the pictures
it's bad.
So my Roshon, I wanted somebody who you could believe that he was at one time a bit more strong and stuff, because he's described as like he has the potential to be kind of more lordly, but nowadays he's kind of let himself go. No offense to the actor. So I went with, and then I've never seen this guy play such a mean character, but I'm sure he could do it. I went with Johnny Young Bosch, who you would know as Adam the Black Ranger.
Cute.
He does mostly voice work now, but
yes.
I think he can do voice work. I think he could pull it off if you needed him to. I also just really, really wanted him in the movie and didn't have a role. So this is my dump stat for the character.
Don't say that.
Well, I really wanted him in the movie, and I respect him enough to play Roshon. So such an important backstory character.
Yeah.
I could not cast Roshon. He was the hardest one of all of them to cast for me for some reason. Because your guy is so fucking cool. I wanted somebody who doesn't look that cool too, Sheta.
Yeah.
No offense.
And you
No
had to-
offense.
And you
Adam,
had to
I'm
pick
sorry.
the best Power Ranger. All right. So my Roshar. Well, I need to use a time machine because once I was casting him, I looked up and the actor has passed away in 2021.
Aw.
But
Oh no.
I know him from one role, and this one role I feel perfectly fit with Roshar. So I'm going with Byron Chung, who you will know
He
as
died? That's too bad.
Son's father in Lost. He just plays just a perfect jerk in that show.
I love that he never really got a redemption or something.
No, it sucks.
The ultimate guy you will never get approval from. All right. Back to Bridge 4, and we're gonna cast Rock. My Rock is I just had to pick Jason Momoa. I just could not think of him while the book was going, and he's just exotic and big and lovable and nice, I guess, So
Yeah, I like that. It's a bit of a typecast, but I like it.
it is, yeah. Can I say who I almost casted as him? If I could have a time machine?
Oh, it's a time machine one?
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't say it. What if one of us casted this guy you're going to say?
I don't think you will. Not with how you two have been casting. So
Tell us after.
okay.
All right. For Rock, I wanted kind of like you, a bigger guy who could play a simple guy, but be kind of a really friendly guy. This actor would never do it, and I'm so sorry I couldn't help myself. I quested Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I could not help it. I'm so sorry.
I feel the same way with my casting. It's just such a typecast, but
No, I'm
Yeah.
asking The Rock to come play a minor character
Oh
named
my
Rock in a
God.
movie.
I see. I get it.
No,
I
I
get it.
It's and I wanted him to have a slightly different look than the rest of the cast to kind of feel like he's from a slightly different place, but kind of fit in too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So mine, I pretty much just tried to. The Rock, same thing, was the hardest person for me to cast. I was mainly trying to go with look, but I could not find a really tall, like Asian actor. And I was thinking, oh wait, professional wrestling's popular in Japan. I'll check those out. And I'm looking, it's like, dang it, but they're all like still 5'10", 5'11", stuff like that. Unless I want to use a time machine and go with Antonio Inoki, who was like 6'5". So I just said, F it, screw all that. I'll just go with somebody that will be shorter, will have the look of it, and if they need to, they can do what they did with Peter Dinklage in Infinity War and just CGI him bigger. So after all that, I went with the guy where solely from the look, and I think he's only been in one movie in the West. Everything else is being Korean. But I went with Ma Dong-seok. Or when he was in the movie here, he went by the name Don Lee, where he played Gilgamesh in The Eternals.
That's what I know him from, yeah.
I literally do not remember The Eternals. I saw it one time in the theater, and I remember next to nothing in that movie. Just his look, he's 5'10", just CGI him up to like 6'10" and throw up red hair on him, and he's good.
He was the best guy. He punched out a monster. And he got killed off stupidly. They should have killed off most of the other cast, not him.
I remember kind of liking Cersei in that movie.
I didn't like Cersei. I did like, what's her name? Athena. I liked Athena and him because they were kind of godly. Cersei had way too much clothes to play Cersei. That's my opinion.
All right. Well, yeah, I didn't think you guys would pick my other person I was going to
Dear
pick.
God, who could it be?
Well, when reading it, I kept imagining someone like this actor, but it's just Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, okay. Okay. He's not going to do it, but yeah.
Yeah, but his kind of like the way he talks, kind of like more simply, and like his kind of his laugh and his energy, I thought it was really like
That's
Rock
good.
and stuff.
That's solid. That's solid.
He's also a bit short though.
Yeah, he don't look short in his movies.
No,
Yeah.
they film it so he looks huge, but I think he's like
Yeah.
5'10" or something.
I don't ever
He's
want
much
to
shorter than
learn
you think he is.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is shorter than me. That's
Well-
fucking horrible. I don't want to know that.
Yeah,
This
just
is
use
why
the
I never
same
want to
magic.
meet celebrities.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we could have done Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one too. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Syl next because Rock and Syl I feel were like really close to Kaladin. So for my Syl, I casted Anne Hathaway. I think she has such like she has the ability to be very she can be very dramatic and stuff, but she also has a silly and playful and like cute voice. I think that
Mhm.
could be work for Syl, but then be very like womanly and serious when things get more serious and she's more matured. So
Yeah, I can see it.
mhm.
For my Syl, I went with somebody with more of like a pixie look, who I already know can play like a human slash creature thing and talk all innocent while also sounding and can but can also do serious. I went with Tom Clemenoff, who you know as Mantis or maybe from Mission Impossible.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute. I love it.
I did not realize that Mantis was in Mission Possible until this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, she is.
I did not realize that was the same actress.
Yeah.
Oh, and she's a bit of a chameleon, so I think she could play a weird creature like that.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I like that a lot. She does seem like otherworldly, like she can be like that. So, dang, I like that one.
All right. For me, I just went with somebody who I feel like has a lot of range. Can play the happy-go-lucky, giggly person. She can play, the, like Sheta said, like more dour, sad Syl when needs to. But also somebody where in the short scene where she's fighting off some spread with a sword, she can do action. So I went with Charlize Theron.
Jesus.
Cute. It's funny, Justin, because Syl is not any race, because or she's not described like that. So I think it's
Yeah.
interesting that you still stuck with your.
Well, I feel that
image.
if you're around a people,
Yeah, no, that
it
makes sense.
like if you're kind of taking on a body that's not your body, you would kind of manifest in that way. It doesn't make a lot of sense when you have creatures. It doesn't really matter, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought that was. I thought you'd think that. So
Mm.
not use it
Charlize
as
Theron.
an excuse. So not use it as an excuse to cast Charlize Theron. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Well,
I like.
Charlize Theron, it does also has an ethereal thing.
Yeah.
It'd be really interesting.
Yeah. Dang, that's true.
I get when I think of her like all bubbly and stuff, I'm mostly thinking of her role in Arrested Development.
Oh God, yeah, you're right. I forgot that was her.
I never forget that. It's my
Mr.
favorite role.
And I think my favorite joke in that has to be, so he wouldn't have acted like this if he saw her before plastic surgery 3 years ago. That shows a picture of her from the movie Monster. Or when she says that she hates it when they have Yanks play Brits.
Yeah.
Because she's South African. She's not British.
She totally sold it though with her gentle features. Okay. So next we'll cast another bridge crew member, Moash. Okay, my Moash is Frank Grillo.
Wow.
He just has this darkness in him, like kind of like this violence. I don't know why, but I really feel that for Moash just because first he was very confrontational with Kaladin, and then he was also like really anxious to learn how to fight, and now he's anxious to learn how to use to learn Kaladin's powers and stuff like that. So I don't know why, but I'm very wary of him.
I do need to ask, why did you need a shirtless picture of Frank Grillo?
Because if you remember from our previous, from our last podcast, Moash is the hottest bridge crew member. So I had to include this picture of him shirtless because he is the best fighter and the most attractive one.
I don't remember that part being said. Is Moash older like that? Or I just pictured he was young. Is that
I
just
think he's
you,
around
Sheta?
I think he's around the same age as Kaladin. At least that's what I
Yeah,
always thought while
that's
reading.
what I imagined.
I don't know why, but I thought I did imagine him like this. Kind of more like, if not older, then more grizzled and worn down than Kaladin.
He's a lot more fucking grizzled than your Kaladin shit. All right, for my Moash, I pictured him as being much younger. I wanted a guy who can kind of blend in with the background as all the bridge crew do, but he can be noticeable, and also he has a good mean face as well because he's like that, but friendly. I went with Max Huang, however you say that, who we also just saw as Kung Lao in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah.
So Mortal Kombat was very helpful for my casting.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see him being kind of confrontational.
Mm-hmm. The leather jacket in the picture definitely helps.
There we go. And then for my Moash, I went with somebody who I thought of that could have like just sort of that serious tone to him and just kind of standing there with anger within him, but at the same time able to just move past that and act kind of friendly and everything. So I went with Daniel Henney.
Yeah, Daniel Henney made it in again.
Yeah, where I was mostly thinking of him as Lan Almandragoran in the Wheel of Time show. But as Justin said earlier, he was also in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yep, his greatest, most iconic role. He got to do so much in that movie.
He's been in plenty of other stuff too.
All right. The next we'll cast Sigil. All right. For Sigil, I casted Daniel Kaluuya from, I know him first from Get Out, and then also Black Panther. I thought he had a very intelligent and mysterious look that could be used for Sigil, since we don't know much about his background, only that he's Hoid's student, and yeah. So I just he has a good look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see it. For mine, I went a similar route in that I wanted a guy who was seems intelligent, but can also, again, blend in, even though he looks so different from the rest. He can seem like he's not important and then seem like he's super important and can play intense stuff. And so I went with Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh my gosh.
For a lot, yeah, just same things as you said.
All right.
That is the most random double casting we've seen because...
Yeah.
I don't know. We've had some random ones.
Have we ever had a three that we all picked? Okay.
No. Most we ever had were two.
Okay.
Because we've had it here. I remember Emperor Soul, Justin and I both had the same person. And yeah, you and Justin have had stuff before, but never three.
Okay.
And sadly, we're not getting three here.
Oh man.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say until now.
So my Sigil, we'll have to use a time machine because the actor is a bit old now for the role. But I just wanted somebody who, the intelligence there can do the little bit, thinking, talking, and also a little bit of anger because he was upset with Kaladin doing stuff at the beginning. So I went with Avery Brooks,
mm-hmm.
who probably most well known as Captain Benjamin Sisko in Deep Space Nine.
Yep,
now
same. Looks smart.
I would probably go more with season 1 or 2 Sisko for the look, no beard, shorter hair, that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think that I just feel like the way he talks in that show, the way he acts would always kind of goes along with what I think of Sigil.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Nice. All right. So next I want to cast our Teft because that's the last of the bridge crew that we're casting.
Don't you have Lopin?
Oh yeah, Lopin. So we'll still do Teft since yeah. All right. So my Teft, I'm casting Stellan Skarsgård. I don't know why, but this is just how I imagine Teft looking like in my head the entire book. Like every time he talked, every time he had these weird questions he asked Kaladin, like I just thought it was this actor. From I guess most people know him from Thor as I usually know his name from Thor. But anyway, I thought he's a good like mentor type. And I couldn't not imagine him, even though I feel like he's very out of place with my cast.
On the bridge crew, he's going to have trouble keeping up, I think. Okay, so for my Teft, I wanted a guy who seems like he could have used to know, like he's had a whole life and he used to know how to fight and stuff, but he's, a lot older now. And apparently, the people who love these books are going to kill me because I casted Dave Bautista as Teft.
I like that.
And he'd have a quiet wisdom to him, but specifically modern Dave Bautista.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I can see him asking those awkward questions too. Like, you had any weird dreams? And he could keep up with the bridge crew at that age, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm with somebody because a lot of times when I think of Teft, I always think of him just kind of grumpy and annoyed and stuff. So I went with an actor that can play that, just like the grizzled older guy that's just kind of grumpy and upset a lot of the times. And also somebody that you just feel like you can trust. I went with Ken Watanabe.
Another go-to.
Watanabe. Yep. Yeah.
You don't know how hard it was for me to not cast him in this movie. Both because he doesn't follow my theme, and I already casted him in Emperor's Soul. He's just one of my favorites. So it was so hard not to double cast him.
There were some actors where it's like I had ideas for actors like, oh man, I want to put them in. I cannot figure out a role.
Yeah.
Maybe Donnie Yen. I could not figure out a role for somebody because like, all right, I'll put him in. But this role, he's not going to fight. If you have him in a role, he has to fight.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be pissed he's not included.
Well, I have other books.
Justin, there are other people who people have said for Dalinar. All I said is I've seen the name.
I just didn't know that was a popular fan casting when I put him in such a relatively small role.
Okay. All right. So for Lopin, who we're going to do next, I could not hear this actor's voice whenever he talked. So I'm just going to cast him, even though I don't know if it's going to be a good one. Patton Oswalt.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I could not hear his voice every time he talked, saying Gancho. Like, so, I think he has that, and he has that kind of friendly vibe that I think he could do a good job. And since he won't be bridge lifting or anything, I think it'll be fine.
I was just gonna ask, have you ever watched the 7-minute thing he recorded during Parks and Rec where he was just going off on Star Wars?
No.
And, the actual episode only showed 15 seconds. During the filibuster thing.
I remember that scene. I remember the scene.
Here's my script. Yeah, you should look it up. It's just him just winging it. The actor just winging it for 7 minutes.
That's funny.
It's hilarious.
For my Lopin, I went with somebody who I think can play kind of like a simple, weird, awkward, bizarre character while still being likable at the same time. He's only a fourth of the ruling. Everyone else has been half, but whatever of my thing. I went with Fred Armisen.
What do I know him from?
He's all over the place.
Yeah. He used to be on Saturday Night Live, and since then he was in Europe. Yeah, was him.
Yeah, I just learned that recently.
Eurotrip?
He would be in he was the Italian guy.
Oh, okay. See.
Otherwise, he would be in an episode of Parks and Rec here. He starred on Portlandia. He starred in Documentary Now.
Yeah, he's in so many things.
I see.
Played Bin Laden in that pop star, whatever that movie was with the Lonely Island. Okay. He's just everywhere.
I see, because I was I know that face. I just can't place it. So that's funny. Okay.
All right. For me, for Lopin, I just went with an actor I thought was funny. It's nothing more than that. It's who do I think who do I think is funny? This guy. So I went with Randall Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
You know, sadly for all three of these actors, we're gonna have to chop off their arm to play the role.
I was just gonna do an effect. I wasn't gonna chop off his arm.
Nope. We have to be more realistic with this, Justin. They're all losing an arm.
Mm. I like how everyone went with comedic actors for Lopin.
He brings that levity. Yeah, really fun. Okay. All right. The last person that's related to the bridge crew stuff is Gaz. So I had a really tough time casting Gaz. I don't know why. He was like the last person I casted. So I kept thinking of someone who was just unlikable, despicable, like, or just like cowardly, and that kind of fit my themes that I've been going, which is kind of like these obscure, slightly like East or Indian, Middle Eastern type. I don't know the look that I was going for, and I thought of the guy, if you guys remember from The Mummy, who had the multiple like
Yeah.
things on him, and then I find out he is played by this man. And I was like, that's not right. It's a very just like the whitest guy you could imagine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was him. So let's see. I'm just gonna pick him anyway. It's Kevin J. O'Connor. He's been in a lot of stuff actually, but like I thought he did such a good job as this character, and I went to that character and I thought about Gaz, so I'm still casting him.
Yeah, I did not know what he looked like in real life.
Yeah. I was like I was very surprised.
You know, we were just at a con where he was there signing autographs last fall.
Whoa. Yep, that's true.
But, you know, the long line was for Brendan Fraser. His line was not Brendan Fraser length.
If we would have done this casting, I would have gone and got us something signed with.
So my Gaz, I've gone with another actor who used to be quite handsome, but is, still looks good and all, but it kind of looks a little more grizzled. And so I'm sorry to the actor for casting you as Gaz. I went with Dean Cain.
Wow.
I've also seen him play a villain in Supergirl when he came back as Kara's adopted father, who was like a weird ass cyborg Superman. So I know he can make a mean face, but I imagine putting an eye patch on the guy and having him be pissed off, and I thought it would fit quite well. So sorry, Superman.
Wow, reduced to playing Gaz.
Yeah, I've got the Black Ranger and Gaz coming back as the most unlikable character, and Superman coming as unlikable.
All right, for my Gaz, I just went with an actor where I've seen him play a villain, and he worked pretty well in there. Different kind of villain, but then I saw him in another movie where it's like, you know what, that kind of fits Gaz. So I went with Reggie Lee. Where first he was in the second season of Prison Break, where he played Agent Kim, and then I also saw him he was one of the people in the drug group in Tropic Thunder, and I thought it would work. He was the guy that was on the phone talking to Tom Cruise's person.
Yeah. I was like, where do I know that face from? Because I didn't remember him from Prison Break, but it's that.
Yeah.
Tropic Thunder.
And he's been in other stuff too. Just those are the two I kind of knew him for. Granted, it's been that's still looking at like 18 years since Tropic Thunder came out, so it may look a bit different, but I felt like it could work.
Okay. All right, now we're gonna go to like our single kind of characters. With Zeph, who is probably the most different looking. So for my Zeph, I'm picking Hollywood's best eyes, Elijah Wood. He's just perfect. I think he would be the perfect Zeph.
Just for the eyes or anything else?
Big eyes, the baby face, like, because he has like this childlike face. He can look like he carries a huge burden, and he can also play like a very vicious killer, like when he played Kevin in Sin City, And
that first picture you have looks like a mugshot.
I know. Yeah, well, it's just him in white and looking a little like, I guess less nice, less friendly. So I think he could do it. I don't know how he is with action, but
You
yeah,
said Sin City.
yeah, Sin City.
Well, for that, they kept fixating on the eyes, so I thought that was important, like you did.
Mhm.
Just that they were very like everyone references that how different they are. And I also wanted to make sure to get an actor who was a bit shorter because that's something that's said about him all the time, as well as a bit paler. Like those are the things I remember really well. So I went with a slightly different route and went with Elijah Wood.
Oh my gosh, you liar!
And I thought of the Kevin role specifically too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry
And
then.
also somebody who doesn't need to say a lot and can be very like eye-catching and like can draw your attention. He doesn't need to talk a lot, but will also look unassuming. There were a lot of reasons, but yeah, I agree with you.
I think he also plays like an evil person in the movie Maniac, or like a remake of Maniac, which was like it's like a movie like starring a serial killer that's all first person, so you only see him when he looks in a mirror. I could be very wrong on what movie it is, but I think I read that's what they did.
Okay.
All right. So for mine, I went with the guy where I felt like he can play the anger that Zeth will have at times. He can do the action. He can do like all the pent up like sadness and stuff within Zeth as well. He just a guy who has a lot of range, can do a lot of the emotions. I went with Adam Driver. But sadly, we'll have to shave his hair.
Shave his hair and cut like 2 feet off of him.
Yeah.
He's huge.
But
yeah.
But hey, he's been bald before, because when I was looking this up, I did not realize that he was in the Marines.
In the actual Marines or a movie?
Yep. Yeah, he was actually a Marine.
Wow, okay. Interesting. Did you guys both specifically pick pictures of him in white?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I did not.
He has a white collar there.
But it doesn't count.
Bring this. He joined shortly after 9/11 and then was medically discharged in 2004.
All right. Okay, so now we're just left with our last person, who is Wit. Is that right? Okay. So I already said previously, but my Wit is going to be played by Andy Serkis.
As you casted him in a previous thing?
Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah, I just imagined him like that. I think he would be great for.
It's funny because I can see him giving the Wit lines still.
He just has such a he can sound so clever and quick-witted and like
When did you cast him?
I don't know.
Elantris.
No.
All the way back in Elantris?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because it was one where she's like, here's all the people I have casted. Then as a joke, and I'm like, you didn't cast Keon's kids or Wit or Hoid. And she's like, what? I need to cast though? I said it as a joke, and then she just still went and casted them.
Well, it still works all this time later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good. Got the magic twinkle in his eye and almost like mischievous and a little dangerous, So, yeah.
All the same reasons I casted my Wit is what you just described. Twinkle in the eye, mischievous, dangerous. I wanted somebody who, stands out whenever they come in. They're always a standout role. I also wanted somebody who's not going to be too expensive because I do want to keep the same casting across movies. I'm still somewhat confused about, what kind of disguise he's wearing or if he's using a magic glamour to make himself look like the other Alethi, but I'm not worried about that here. So anyways, but I also wanted to make sure to do somebody who can say a lot of really kind of clever, annoying stuff while being charming and is a chameleon who can fit into any role. I went with Alan Tiddick.
Ooh.
However, I did cast Alan Tiddick as the voice of the glyph in Elantris. Was it named glyph or was it called a glyph? I don't remember.
A Sion?
A Sion, yeah. Or this is the thing that
Ash
is talking to. Yeah, Ash. Yeah, all the way back when I casted him. Just a voice, so I'm not going to count it. So this is my current one. However, I'm unsure. In a later book, I may need to reassess if
No,
Wit's a more physical character than I'd imagined.
that's solid.
All right. So for my Wit / Hoid, honestly, purposely, I kind of went against the grain. There are two most popular names that I see people throw out all the time.
Really?
Yep, two most popular names are Tom Hiddleston and David Tennant.
Dude, I was so close to casting both of them. Are you kidding? That's
Wow.
crazy. I was so close. That's funny. I just didn't want
those-
anyone that intense or expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the two most popular ones. So I decided, you know what? I'm not going to. I already have Dalinar, which I've seen that name thrown around with Dave Bautista. So with this, I purposely went with somebody that I have not seen the name go around, but I think it would work. It's a guy where he's funny, can make fun of people, but has shown in some roles to be able to play more serious stuff. So it's not going to be all off the wall, which you might think of with this actor. Because I went with Jim Carrey.
Wow.
That would be, if you could nail down Jim Carrey for the role, that would be fucking epic, man.
Now that's someone magical. Like
Mm-hmm.
if he freaking shows up, you're like, is that Jim Carrey?
Especially if they don't announce the casting
Yeah.
ahead of time.
And it'd also be something where you would notice him. Like, if the Mistborn movie comes out first, you'll see it's like, shit, that was Jim Carrey. And then you just think nothing about it. It's like, all right, just a cameo. But then you watch Stormlight, Witch shows up, and it's Jim Carrey. You'll immediately put them together.
I don't know why, but I'm also thinking of when he played Count Olaf, who was always in disguises. I imagine in all the movies he's in a different disguise, like playing a different character. So like it would be kind of like that, where you're like,
I was so careful with Wit because I really felt like I'm gonna have to see this guy every goddamn movie, aren't I? Somebody I'd be happy to see.
There was one other actor that I thought of, but it's another one where you'd have to do a time machine. So I didn't really put it here because I wanted somebody that's more possible. But also another person I thought would be great would have been Gene Wilder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, They all have that magical thing. It's interesting that we all knew he needs this magical essence that transcends the story, but can act too. That's the other important part.
mm-hmm.
I can't believe those two fan castings. You don't know how close I was to having both of them. That's crazy.
Yeah, and in all honesty, those same thing for me. Like when I was reading the books, I was thinking of Wit as Tom Hiddleston. And then later when I was thinking of fan castings, like, you know what? David Tennant would be good in this.
Yeah.
And then when I saw something of fan castings and like so many people were saying those two names, just like, you know what? I have to do something different.
Yeah. I felt they were too main character energy. That was my feeling.
Mm. Yeah, it would be distracting to have someone like Tom Hiddleston or David Tennant.
Well, I know from Jessica Jones, David Tennant can capture the scene while playing second fiddle, so he does have that talent,
That's true.
Granted, main character energy, then I put Jim Carrey.
Yeah, but Jim Carrey is in the Sonic movies, and he's able to
Jim
play second
Carrey,
fiddle to a cartoon. He can do anything,
he's main character of the world. Like this is not this is not even anything to him, I really feel like
That's true.
He doesn't live on Earth.
Joe,
like,
Now you got my hopes up that they will cast Jim fucking Carrey in the role. I'm sticking with mine. I like all of these. These are all interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. So that should be our fan castings. I think that's probably everything we got. Any last words you two want to say about the Way of Kings?
I'm really worried about what more characters, what more Alethi characters will be added in, because I've virtually exhausted my my mixed race Asian pool of actors. Like I'm just out. I've got like 2 left, if even. Maybe they can add a couple girls because I have some of those, but no more male Alethi. I want other people from other cultures, please.
Who is your Shalon again?
With Sky. I've got quite a few girls left. It's guys that I'm out of.
Okay.
I've basically got Babu Stewart, who I was never going to cast, and Jordan Connor left. That's it. Or not Jordan Connor. Jordan. Yeah, Ryan Potter. That's what I meant. That's it. That's all I got left.
Well, all I was thinking was like if you get like more Yaakov characters, or if we get like Thalen characters if they would also be mixed race.
Well, it depends how they're described. I picked my route. Sheta, I have to say, your multiracial cast, I think it felt the way you described, where
Yeah.
it's kind of just a lot of these actors, some of them are very clearly a race, but a lot of them, if you put them all together, it's kind of I can see them blending together. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really fun to do that. And I was like, all these actors are really good, and I think they could like they just would all blend in and create something very unique and fantasy like. So I had a lot of fun with that.
Well, yeah. So yeah, that will be the episode. As usual, there will be a break, and so next week no episode, and then the week after that we'll come back with the preview for Words of Radiance, where we'll look at all the covers. Justin Sheta will give some predictions for the book, and also we have a stockpile of comments and stuff to go over during that episode. So yeah, so everyone, tell us what you think about our fan casting. Did you like them? Did you hate them? Feel free to leave comments about that. Send us an email, cosmicchronicles@gmail.com. Yeah, all that jazz. So yeah, until next time, everyone, I guess, bye-bye.
Atiosa.
Bye, Way of Kings.